we'll discuss about what are the major challenges we are facing in the process of ecotourism, and specifically in the Indian context, and how to overcome from these challenges. See, if you look into this kind of tourism, among all the tourism, the ecotourism has taken a major space now throughout the globe. Because you see, because ecotourism is a tourism which attracts the people irrespective of age, irrespective of gender, to all the groups. Through that, it will become a major source of revenue for the government, and at the same time it becomes a major source of a kind of source of livelihoods for the rural communities who are living in the vicinity of that ecotourism site. But what exactly the major challenges we are facing, and who are the major stakeholders? Because before going to discuss about what are the major challenges, what are the major problems we are facing, and what are the prospects of ecotourism, because if we can overcome all these problems and look into this scope of ecotourism, then in the real sense the revenue generation can be increased. But you see, so we should be aware about who are the major stakeholders involved. See, there are specifically, if you look in the context of ecotourism, like any other tourism. So here the people, means the local community, they are the major, the first and the primary stakeholder. And what is the intention of this local people? Because you see, my approach is that whenever we are discussing any stakeholder aspects, we should be much aware about that which different stakes are having different interests. Because generally, whenever we do stakeholder analysis and all, in that we try to look into the interest of all the stakeholders. So if you look at this in the context of ecotourism, the people, the community who are considered the major stakeholder, who are considered the primary stakeholder, are also having a different interest. What are the different interests? They want that their livelihoods should be promoted, their opportunity for the livelihood should be enhanced, and they should get a kind of the scope for the livelihood should be enriched, through that they can have a better facility and better opportunity for the livelihoods. So that is one dimension in the context of ecotourism in India, that we should give them as the major scope. Then the second one is that if you look into, the second one is that the tourist. The tourist, another stakeholder, is, you see, whenever you people visit any site, what is exactly your interest? Your interest will be, as a tourist, your interest will be maximizing the benefits. Means whatever the cost you are spending, whenever you are visiting any site, you will have an intention that how much this exactly you can enjoy the site you are visiting. And in that sense, whenever you are telling the enjoyment, when you expect some kind of facilities, the first and facilities, you should have a better communication facilities, better accommodation facilities, better food facilities, and the 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 site should be very much clean, green, all these things. Then the another aspect should be that another aspect should be that the safety and security. Then there should be a kind of proper sanitation facilities. Because you see, suppose whenever generally, specifically in the context of ladies, whenever they visit any tourist area, they look for that there should be proper hygiene, sanitation facilities, because otherwise it is very problematic for them. So that's why that should be there, because if you want to real promote the tourism, because these are toilet is a very small things, but it should be they are in a very well designed and all, through that because that also give a very positive feedback. Otherwise, if in the absence, the tourist site gets very negative feedback also. And the proper road communication, because if the sites are very highly excellent, road facilities will be approaching road will be very excellent, then everybody will appreciate, and everybody will, you people will give a feedback to others. So yes, even if some area is not so that attractive, because area is naturally built and all, if that is also not much attractive, you can also recommend people as you can go, because this road are very excellent, you will travel, you will enjoy the while traveling. And so at least once you can travel that side and enjoy the beauty of the nature. But if the road is very bad, you will never recommend anybody that. Even if the site is very good, also most of the time people feel reluctant if the communication is not so good. See, in nearby us, there is a very beautiful place, Contd, which is a very, very attractive place, very natural beauty, is excellent. And in between, the government has done lots of kind of innovative idea they used, and they developed also that site. But still, due to lack of communication, is not so good as of now. The road construction is under process and all. It sometimes it is discouraging the people to travel, because though it is a very excellent, one of the biggest waterfall in India, but still only 90 kilometers from Raurkela, but still it consumes lots of the time to travel, so which discourage also sometimes the people. So that's what I'm telling, that the tourists are, and also accommodation, because if some site is not having proper accommodation, and that accommodation should be very affordable also, because there are lots of peoples in this society who wants to visit. But if the site is not having proper accommodation facility which can accommodate everybody, because you see, it is not that everybody is having the money to spend. So that's why the tourist kind of perception, different kind of interest, and that should be protected. And the third stakeholders are the, suppose you're the government department, the forest department. In the context of ecotourism, you look into the forest department and other line department, means other government department. But the major is the forest department. The major interest is conservation and preservation of the natural beauty and natural biodiversity, because their interest is the biodiversity should be conserved, the natural beauty should be preserved. So that is their interest. So means, and then the third thing is the business group, whether it is travel agent, whether it is the hotel industry, whether it is small scale vendors. So all these people should have an interest that the government should make this area more beautiful. The government should facilitate in better communication facilities. Through that, the people will have much interest to come. And once the people have small vendors, they will also be highly benefited. If you look into last 1 year, if you look at it throughout the globe, the entire globe is suffering because of COVID. And if you look into how, see the major source, there are lots of the countries like your Thailand and all, whose economies completely depends upon tourism. They are completely devastated, because you see now even almost all the countries have cancelled their tourism visa. Now not a single country is giving tourist visa also, because most of the tourist sites are still closed. Even if they are open, they are only opened for their domestic tourists. They have not opened it for the international tourists. So now look into the countries whose economies are mostly depending on tourism are really suffering, because almost all the tourism sites are closed. Look into how many hotels are being closed. Lots of people who are working in the hotel sector and all, they have lost their employment opportunity. Lots of the travel agency are being closed, and lots of the e-portal sites also are forced to be closed, because there are small e-portal sites who really started their business. You see, if you look at the OYO, lots of the hotels are also being cancelled, lots of, because lots of these two people lost their employment opportunity. Because you see now, as of now, also there is no much communication facilities are being developed, no road network is sorry, no train network is being organized. Flights are very minimum, so which has discouraged. And that too also, if even within the domestic and international flights and all these things are very much restricted and all, which has discouraged. And the entire, specifically the tourism has gone to a devastation. So that's why the now you look into that, all the hotel industry people are writing to the governments that will maintain all hygienics in the tourism site, will follow all the COVID guidelines. It should be open, and whenever you'll go to any kind of hotel websites in throughout the world, also within the state, within the country, within the globe, wherever you just check in the internet, you'll see that it is clearly mentioned our hotels are very much following the COVID guidelines now. Because what exactly means, every hotel industry wants that if special precautions will be taken, and the COVID negative things, the government should make a stringent rule that whenever somebody is entering to any country, they should have a COVID negative certificate tested within the 72 hours. So all these things are coming up, so that it is highly essential. We should look into that how tourism can be promoted. Sorry. So that's why, so our major intention means the travel peoples, the sorry, the business class people, including hotel industry, including this travel agency, small scale vendors, they have a different interest. So means when every group is having different interest, we should look into that how we can protect the interest of all these groups, and how we can overcome from the interest of from all these problems of different interest group. Through that, we can promote the tourism. So now we understood the major stakeholders and their interest. So once you are understanding the interest of a stakeholder, you can look into whether their interests are being protected or not. If their interests are not being protected, these are their problem. These are the problems standing with the government. These are the problems standing in the implementing agency, and these are the natural problems standing there. So we'll understand the problems. Then we can look into what are the scopes are available. Can we really promote the tourism? See, I'll just tell you the thing. And also, the another thing is also, which is very major thing we should not forget. The major thing is that while we are discussing about ecotourism or the tourism, and specifically in the context of ecotourism, whenever we are telling about ecotourism, mostly we want to promote the tourism in a very natural nature-based areas, which are mostly the indigenous peoples and the tribals and the local peoples, the ruralites usually stay. So, and their culture is very much intact. They're very much traditional in their culture. They're very conservative culture, conservative and all. So, the inflow of outsider is going to disturb their local culture, local tradition. So that also should be very much, should be examined very thoroughly and very carefully. So we should look into those matters also, because it matters a lot that whether the inflow of outsider is going to disturb the local culture and tradition or not. So this then we'll look into another aspect here, that which is a very major aspect here we have to look into, that once I'll just give an example of Thailand. See, the Thailand was mostly depending on a kind of tourism, and specifically they promote the ecotourism and all. Once they promoted the ecotourism, and then they started getting huge benefit from the tourism. But the rise of the tourism, in order to attract the tourism, there are lots of infrastructure, the family business they started, and when the tourist intervention got enhanced and increased, then slowly what happened, there is a competition started among within the family members to serve to the tourist, but they that but whatever the tourist inflow held, so it could not, they are not able to generate such kind of economy which can suffice them, for which they started, they moved to another kind of devastation, because from ecotourism they moved towards the sex tourism, and the Thailand becomes another hub for the entire kind of South India and all, and specifically the peoples from the Central Asia and all used to visit. So mostly to the Thailand and all, they have a kind of spa, and they have a kind of sex tourism, which is becomes another major hub, and the society has moved towards a social devastation, because almost all the families are being engaged in this business, and which is becoming another cultural devastation also. So that's why whenever we are looking into any kind of promotion of the tourism and all, we should look into that. We should very critically observe that whether the promotion of tourism is able to protect the interest of the people or not. If something wrong is happening, that how we can overcome from these wrong things, and what are the measures initiation we should take through that things can be done in a better way. So we'll look into that matter. So because and you see, if you look into this kind of major problems, whenever we or major challenges generally we face in the context of ecotourism, the first is the marketing techniques. Means we can develop a site as an ecotourism site. You see, I'll just tell you, those are from Uttarakhand and all, they might be aware about. I'm just forgetting the name. There is a small water flow, waterfall just while going to the Mussoorie, and in the just roadside and all. I'm just forgetting the name of that waterfall. And you see, this waterfall is very small, but the people are really made to see that waterfall. People are really, I mean,
Empty waterfall.
how? So you see, the people are really very much made to see that waterfall. But I always tell that if you look into, once you come Raurkela and all, I'll tell you, all of you, uh, whenever you get an opportunity to visit the Khandadhar waterfall, you'll see that. I'm not doing advertising here, but real life, you'll, because I personally have visited maybe around 25 times. So you see, it's a very, very beautiful site and very kind of long. I mean, if you look at the deep of the waterfall and all, the height is one of the highest in the whole India. So, but you see, we are not able to get that kind of promotion, that kind of marketing. But whereas this empty waterfall has taken lots of kind of advertising, but it is nothing in front of this waterfall. And because Odisha is quite famous for the ecotourism, and there are lots of beautiful sceneries in the Odisha, and lots of waterfalls are there throughout the state for real natural enjoyment. What I'm telling here is, see, the marketing techniques. What kind of marketing techniques you are adopting? I'll just tell you one example. See, once a long back, I visited Kuala Lumpur, and the moment I get down at the airport, I found that there is a big hoarding just outside the airport is mentioned. Don't miss an opportunity of visiting world's largest bird park. Then whenever I get down or get into any bus, I found that inside the bus, outside the bus, whenever I get into the local train, inside the train, outside the train, it is mentioned, don't miss an opportunity of visiting world's largest bird park. So see, then I felt, I as a tourist also felt more curious that, okay, I should not miss it, because when there is huge advertisement that I should not miss this opportunity of visiting world's largest bird park. I, though I was a student during the time. I was not having much economic support during the time, but still, I thought that, okay, I should not miss this opportunity, and I visited because I just went for a conference. So then I thought that, okay, I will visit this site and all. And when I paid a good amount of money, which is also as a student, it was quite difficult for my part. So, and when I visited the site, and I found that once I visited and come out from the site, and I feel that even I'm from a very rural area, and I feel that, okay, whatever the birds I saw, all these birds are quite available and very much available in my own kitchen gardens, which is very large in the village area. And I was thinking that it is worthless to visit uh, the site. Look into, nothing is there. If you look into this, any kind of zoo in India, you'll get lots of birds are there, and our any zoos, any small zoo in India is 1,000 times better than that birds park. But generally, but the marketing, the way they promoted, the techniques they adopted, which attract the tourist, which motivate the tourist. Really, if I want to visit, I will miss something. So that's why the people develop a sense of motivation and visit that site. So that's why the suitable approach, the suitable techniques to be adopted for promoting any kind of tourism. And another major problem we face that the budget allocation we do, we use it to do lots of budget allocation, but what exactly we are getting? See, whenever we are spending the money in any promoting the tourism, our budget is not uniformly spent throughout the country. We are not going for a regional development. We are always becoming a very center-centric. See, that's in the past day I was telling about. Whenever the most tourists are visiting in India, they are mostly confining to the Golden Triangle, that is Delhi, Agra, and Jaipur. See, why should not we develop such kind of different states should adopt different mechanism for promoting tourism? Now the Odisha government, with help the central government, is now trying to promote the Chandrabhaga tourism in the corner. Gujarat has taken an initiation of developing this world's largest statue, the Statue of Unity. Then Uttar Pradesh government, with this help of the Ram Lila Trust, now they have an interest, and the people who now, whenever any international tourist visits India, they always have an intention that they will never miss the opportunity of visiting Taj Mahal. So now they are trying to promote that the time will come when the international tourist, whoever visits India, will try that they should not miss an opportunity of visiting Ram temple at Ajodhya. So that's why every state should take such kind of initiation. Every state should look into that what kind of tourism can be promoted in the particular state, which will attract the other tourists, other domestic tourists, other international tourists, that they should come there. See, look at our Bihar. We have lots of opportunities there for Nalanda and all. So how we cannot, why cannot we develop such an opportunity which will attract the tourists to visit to our traditional educational sites, traditional educational places? Because Nalanda was the Nalanda, then your uh, so another is site. I'm forgetting. So these are all has to be promoted. So that is the major things, the major challenges, that what kind of techniques you are adopting, how you are attracting the tourists. So which matters a lot. Then, then another is lack of. You see, the major problem, whatever because I worked on tourism and all, I have seen from my major, and I'm a very frequent visitor. I love to visit the different tourist sites, and develop an interest of also working on the tourism. So what I'm telling you, see, wherever we go in our, specifically in our country, we'll see that we don't have much trained guides. We this is generally, we the Indians have the wrong tendency that no, we don't need any guide. But you see, the major thing is, if you will get a well-trained guides which will really educated to guide you, so that will help you. But in major best places in the India, that the suitable guides are missing. We are having tourism, we are promoting the tourism, we are not recruiting the trained guides, we are not giving it to any agency, private agency. We can go for a public, private, and people's partnership. We can go for a public private partnership, so that the guides and all these things can be trained, guides can be recruited, trained guides can be promoted to the tourism. And so so how, what kind of methods we can develop through that the community can develop a sense of consciousness? So how the community will develop a sense of consensus. So means they can feel that, okay, I should visit this site. This is a very good site, and also at the same time they can develop a sense that wherever I am going to any sites, I will never try to litter anything there. I will not try to destroy the site. I will not try to make it dirty the site. That kind of consciousness should be created within the peoples. And lack of people's interest, how we can motivate the people to travel? How, because this is also a major problem. People are not putting much interest. Because very less people are movable. Very less people, because either the peoples are not having money. You see the different people. See, once also I suggested that though different state has adopted, so why not the central government made a scheme that that every citizen, specifically they should make irrespective of class, whether rich class, poor class. So every citizen of this country, once they cross 60 years, they can visit the, suppose, based on their religion, they can be visit to their the most uh, kind of prominent religious place of, because religion is a very emotional issue in India, and so any irrespective, based on their religion, they can visit to any site of their choice within the country, which is the most prominent place for them to travel. So at least for one site, the government should give once you cross 60, every citizen, the government will will send you the ticket and an accommodation. The government can give a very cheap accommodation and suitable accommodation, and also the government can send you they can ask you an option when you want to travel, who are the people who want to travel, so those who have crossed 60, and then they can give you they can book your accommodation for 3 nights or 4 nights, and then they can send you the tickets. So definitely you will have an interest to go. So suppose Odisha government has done good thing, they are promoting religious tourism, specifically the BPL class households who have crossed the 60 years, they can go for all India religious tourism. The government is sponsoring the entire expenditure for 15 days and all. So anyhow, so what I'm telling, it's all the states, irrespective of religion, they should promote it. Through that, what will happen? We can promote it, we can develop an interest within the. You see, the major problem is if I make you once out from the home, take you one place by spending some money, the next day what will happen? You will develop an interest of traveling. There are lots of the people having money but no interest of traveling. So once they're out from the home, they will be smart enough to travel. So that is the things how we can motivate the people. Means first, आपको सरकार को कुछ खर्च करना पड़ेगा. सरकार has to spend some money to motivate the people, to develop an interest within the people. So lack of cooperation among the stakeholders. All the stakeholders should cooperate each other, because if there will be no coordination within the stakeholder, if the forest department will not cooperate the tourism department, if the tourism department will not help coordinate the tourist, if the tourist will not coordinate the forest department, because suppose there are some tiger reserve area where we are promoting the tourism, which is majorly banned by the Supreme Court and all. So what I'm telling, if we promote the tourism and there people will go and they will play the music, they will create sound and all. So in that sense, and if you are visiting in a tourist site and creating that sites very dirty and all, so that is also creating problem. And another major challenge is also infrastructural facilities. We have to think about how infrastructural facilities should be promoted. First, should be done very fast. If you want to develop a tourism in any site, the infrastructural facilities should be promoted very fast. And the local culture should be promoted. If you look at the Kerala, we have 3-4 friends from Kerala. You see, I really like the Kerala, the way they have promoted the ecotourism. See, we always tell the Kerala, the God's own country. So you see, look into the Kerala is a very beautiful state in the context of nature and all. It is, and the state government has done very beautiful kind of things for the promotion of ecotourism, because their major revenue is also coming from ecotourism, and another is their foreign. Lots of people are NRI, because the very interesting is whenever any Keralite meets another Keralite, they used to ask how to migrate, because they have their tendency to migrate to, mostly they go to the south, the Arabian countries and all. They earn huge monies. So, and also at the same time, the respective state governments are promoting huge ecotourism in their lands. So what I'm telling you, see, the way they are promoting, the way they are developing the infrastructure, so that others should learn. Others should learn. And another very interesting thing is that our approach should be tourist friendly approach. See, so unless and until our approach is not tourist friendly, then we cannot develop the tourism. So we should have developed the infrastructural facilities. We should develop tourist friendly the facilities and all. Then lack of proper organization and planning. Whenever we are trying to promote any kind of tourism, we should have a particular law, and the law should be implemented properly, and what kind of major challenges we are facing, that should be overcome. So if only until we develop. And you see, another thing is that we always tell that the negative impact of the ecotourism, because the moment we are the outsider intervene, then always there will be a conflict between the guest and host, because within the same natural resources, they unnecessarily and because the burden of others will increase. Because you see, now you will look into the mostly, suppose the over tourism, now the another new concept has come, over tourism, because the inflow of lots of people into a particular place is unnecessarily creating an over tourism, while the other destinations are uh, not having, though they're having huge capacity to accommodate tourists, but people are not putting interest to visit that site. So, and our tourist people are unnecessarily creating and destroying the natural beauties. They're creating problem in the natural and the natural sites. So that should be look into very seriously. And there are lots of negative impact in the culture, language, because suppose whenever the international and all the domestic tourists visit to a particular space in Odisha, so the people will adopt their language and all. I'm not telling that language is bad. We have to learn other language, but sometimes what happens, specifically in the tribal region, the people forget their tribal languages and they adopt the Hindi, then other mainstream languages for their business and all, so that the time will come when their own language will be become an endangered language, and also time will come when that language will also exit from this earth. So that's what we also looked into, and the cultural impaired impact. So whenever the outsider inflow to a very traditional conservative sites and all, the local youths mostly learn from the others. So whenever we are visiting any ecotourism site, we should have a respect to the local culture. We should not do such a things. And most of the now ecotourism sites are very much affected by people. Whenever the people visit, they always adopt the alcohol and all, alcohol, because most of the tourism sites are now becomes an hub for alcohol and this smuggling, then women trafficking, then the prostitution. All these things are being promoted also. So that should be completely banned, and completely the administration should be very much vigilant. And and also whoever is visiting those sites, they should be refrained from all these activities, and the government should be very much vigilant that if people are engaged with all like this kind of activities, should be immediately penalized. Through that, what will happen? The tourism can be promoted, the revenue can be generated, but without hampering the culture and glory of our country and the culture of and tradition of the particular region, because that is our main intention. Because otherwise, if we will promote the tourism and the economic gain we may get, but at the end of the day, the social cost will be like anything. So once we can earn the money, but we cannot get back our social heritage, social culture and all. Any doubt and all?
No, sir.